Anaise 4 times in 1 year. You can't see what's in it, but it's implied. That's my register. You can run like 5 blocks and you would be smack dab in the middle of the hood. Imagine coming into work every day like you've been doing for the past 12 months after your lunch break, only to come into the store being robbed. So y'all, this happened when I was with Triple OG, y'all. This was before the studio thing, right? Because I think once I stopped working is when I went to the studio. That's when I was getting serious with my music and stuff, right? So this was before the studio fight. So this was one of our good phases. If you have not seen the series, I'm gonna link it right here that details my whole relationship with Triple OG if you don't know who I'm talking about, right? I was about 19 years old or 18 going on 19, very young, and I was in this tumultuous relationship, right? But I had a job, you know, and I was making $8 an hour. I'd work for a company called Safeway. If you haven't heard of Safeway, some of their affiliates are like Vons and I want to say Rayleigh's. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But so I'm working there. I'm a cashier. I remember getting the job, y'all. I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, I'm an adult. I'm on my own 2 feet. I went to the training. They got my little uniform. I had to go like 3 cities over on the train just to go get my uniform. Like I used to keep it so crispy. Just, you know, I was really proud to be working there, right? And I was proud to be on the cash register because I've always been good at math. I always liked math. And, you know, I used to be telling the computer what kind of change it was going to give out before it told me. So, you know, I was good. I was happy for a period of time. Plus, on my downtime, you know, we had to stay at the register. So on my downtime, I would print out the receipt paper and I would write my raps on it. So I was like, oh, you know, I figured out a way to make this job work for me. Now they paying me to write raps, right? So anyway, it was all good. So this was one of the times where Triple OG did not have a car and he took me to work, right? And he dropped me off and then he was going to pick me up when it was over. And I think I used to work like a 10 to 6 or 12 to 8, something like that. It wasn't too early, but it wasn't late in the afternoon, right? So I get to work that day, y'all, and we had a cool manager. Our manager was so cool, y'all, to the point where he used to take tree breaks with us. Like literally, he'd be like, oh, y'all finna go on y'all break, and we'll go outside, and he literally in the parking lot with us blowing it down. Like I remember the first time my supervisor, he was like, hey, you know, come outside, and he had like gave us a ride to get something to eat before, and when he gave us the ride, he had sparked something up in the car, right? So I already knew that my supervisor did it, but then the store manager, he came outside with us one day, and I already knew what we was about to do. So I'm like looking like, oh my God, I'm scared, like I ain't finna do nothing. And I was wondering,
what type of shit you on, man?
Like, is everybody else going indulge? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, I'm kind of just waiting for it to go down, right? So then we get out there, my supervisor, he start doing what he do, and I'm just looking, and then they start passing it around the group. It's like 4 or 5 of us, right? So they passing it, and they passed it to the manager, right? And then so the manager, he passed it to me. So of course I took it.
Just get to your job or lose it.
We went outside for one of them kind of breaks, right? After that, shortly after that, it was like my lunchtime, me and this other girl. So we went and we took our lunch break. It was like the plaza that we worked in. It was like the grocery store. And then it was like 3 or 4 different food places. I think McDonald's, Taco Bell, things like that. So, you know, it was a couple places to eat. So we went to one, right? And we had like maybe a 30-minute lunch then. Just to give y'all a little bit of perspective, y'all already know I'm from Oakland, California. This grocery store was in the heart of Oakland, California, not the downtown area, in the heart of the hood. Like literally you can run like 5 blocks and you would be smack dab in the middle of the hood, y'all. So it was, you know, but it wasn't too far from where I'm from. You know, I'm from the hills, right, which is right down the street from the hood, but literally it was, you know, it was right in the thick of it, right? So y'all, we out there taking the edge off, and then me and the girl, we go get our food, probably sit in a little restaurant for, you know, our little 30 minutes, and then we walk back over there. Now, our instructions were when we come back in to go to customer service, because if you didn't know, the cashiers also worked in customer service, right? So there was the 2 ladies that were on the register who had taken over our registers to give us a lunch break, and then there was a 3rd register open, right? And so we were at customer service doing whatever, right? And we just talking or whatever, right? And so all of a sudden, we look over to where the cash registers are. And the cash registers, they right in front of the door. So when you walk in, you can see all the registers. And it was like 8 of them. But again, only 3 of them was open, right? And it was all women on the cash registers at this time, right? So we look over there, we just seeing business as usual. They on the, they on the cash register, they ring people up, they ringing people up, right? And I don't know why we was watching, like literally we wasn't doing what we was supposed to be doing. We just looking over there watching them ring up customers, right? And then all of a sudden, one of them, they get to this guy, he got on a hoodie, right? So he's a dark-skinned guy, he got on a black hoodie, right? And we noticed he kind of got like a do-rag pulled up, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like covering half of his face, right? But that's not uncommon, right? For somebody to come in like that. People for all kind of reasons didn't want to show their face. I don't know. Maybe he was on the run. I don't know. But it wasn't really alarming because, like I said, we right in the middle of the hood. People do all kind of crazy stuff, right? So, so we just watching, literally just sitting there talking, and we're watching, right? And then all of a sudden, he do like this out of his shirt. And he or out of his hoodie, because he had his hands in his pocket, and he kind of like lift the hoodie up, right? But you can't see what's in it, but it's implied what's in the hoodie, right? So he lifting the hoodie up, and then he
open up the drawer and give me everything.
And he's holding a brown paper bag, y'all, right? And he's giving it to the cashier, right? She's looking, and she's like, what, right? And the crazy part about it is, y'all, the register that he was at was the register that my partner, the girl that I was on lunch with, that she was supposed to be on. So that would have been her. He's handing her this brown paper bag, and she's like, what? And while she's saying what, the person behind her, because the way the cash registers were, everybody's facing the same way, right? You've seen a grocery store before. Everybody's facing the same way, right? So she can see what's happening. It's happening right in front of her. And she's looking, and she saved the girl name. When she say the girl name, there's a man in her line, and I didn't notice it until he said something, right? There's a man in her line who dressed almost exactly the same, right? He's a little lighter, and I can see his arms. He's a little lighter than the first one, right? And he got on the hoodie, he got on the rag over his face, and he kind of holding up his hoodie in a way implying the same thing. And he got a bag, y'all, right? Mind you, this register that's behind her, that's my register. So that would have been me, right? So y'all, we look, and then all of a sudden we look at each other, with our eyes like that, and then we just duck down behind customer service, right? Because there's a cash register over there too, right? So all we thinking is, oh my God, they finna get whatever they finna get, and they finna come over here. Like they gon' hit everywhere in the store, right? So the way customer service is set up, it's a little walkway, right? It's a counter. Just imagine like a kitchen island, and then there's a way for you to walk in, right? And it got this little swing door, right? So we're peeking out the little door, right? Because it's not a door that latches and closes or whatever. It just swing up and just keep swinging, right? So we looking out the door watching, right? And we see them open up their registers, they hand the cash, and it was crazy because it was one register all behind them, and it's customers there and everything. There are people behind them in line, right? Just sitting there, just shocked, oh my God, right? And everybody just stopped. Everybody just froze except for these 2 ladies who are emptying out the cash registers, the very registers that we would have been on. They are emptying out the registers and putting the stuff in the brown bag. It seemed like it lasted so long, it was 5 or 10 minutes, but it probably took them 2 minutes, y'all, tops, to get everything. And then they walked out the store, and then all of a sudden, once we had sliding doors, the sliding doors open, they walked out, and as soon as the doors start closing, they just start running, right? So somehow somebody else in the store, probably one of the courtesy clerks, which is the people who put back up the food and stuff like that, and help people to bag their groceries, help them outside. One of them, or somebody else that was in the store, had contacted the manager. The manager had a little office that was upstairs. It was down at the other end of the store, and it had this little stairway to go upstairs. So somehow, some way, somebody told him by the time they running out, he's running up, and he what happened? So then everybody telling the story. It's all this chaos, the customers yelling, the people who on the registers yelling, we still hiding, and they trying to account for everybody and looking around. They're where's such and such? Where's Anaise? Where is this? Where is that person? They trying to make sure everybody's okay. Then they're okay, we called the police. The manager had already called the police, probably like 10-15 minutes later, the Oakland police pull up. They question everybody. They got everybody sectioned off to the side. They're like, do you recognize the people? What happened? And they trying to make sure everybody's story match up, trying to make sure it wasn't an inside job or whatever, right?
Who the fuck are you, bitch?
And they just, after they do that, it probably take them like, I don't know, an hour or two. We closed the store down. All the customers had to leave, and they had to question us, and they had to make sure, A, everybody was all right, and B, nobody there had nothing to do with it. And, they took a record of, what's missing, and they police report and all that, and then they followed up with their investigation, right? So after that, the store manager, he like, okay, whoever want to go home for the day, they can go home. Like, I understand this is traumatizing, gotta, right? So I was, of course, me and the girl who was in customer service, and honestly, the two ladies who was on the register, they went home too, but some people actually decided to stay, and then he was like, we're gonna reopen the store in like an hour or whatever, and they was gonna keep it moving, business as usual. I'm like, how in the...
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Anyway, so I went home or whatever, and I remember I was supposed to work the next day, right? But first I went home, and of course I called Triple G. I told him, hey, you need to come pick me up, and this what happened, and told him or whatever, and we was talking about it, and it was like, oh man, like, that's dangerous. I don't know if you can work there or whatever. And I remember I was supposed to work the next day, right? And the manager, he called me. He was like, hey, I understand if you don't want to come in or whatever, that was scary and yada 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 or whatever, right? So I was like, no, I don't think I want to come in. I probably want to take a week or so off to just think about it or whatever, let that settle in. He like, yeah, I'm sorry about that, like these things do happen. Like, this is actually our 4th robbery this year. Bruh. And this is like June, y'all done been robbed 4 times in 1 year, and it's only halfway done. Like, I was like, oh no, this is like your 4th time this year,
Boy, if you don't...
So you mean this has happened not only 4 times, but more than that? Like, I was like, oh no. At that moment, I decided, oh yeah, I can't work here no more. I don't care. I'll tell him whatever just to get him off this phone, but he will never hear from me again. I quit right now. This is a silent quit, and I am done, because I'm not working at no store where y'all getting robbed per my math, that's every 6 weeks. Like, I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, there ain't nobody finna get me over some money that's not mine. I make $8 an hour here. I don't want that. So, but anyway, so yeah, he was like, oh yeah, no, it's fine, take all the time you need, just let me know. And then y'all, he was, after about 3 or 4 days, he was calling me, asking me, texting me, and I just never responded back. I was like, I'm too scared. And really, I ain't gonna lie, I never liked working when I was young, and that was the perfect excuse. I was like, look, hey, they got robbed, I can't go back there no more. Like, hey,
Oh, hell no!
And I told my parents, and I remember I told my daddy, and he was like, man, you was tripping. You could have went out on disability, on trauma. They would have paid you and all that. And I sure wish I was the person that I am today, because I would have took full advantage of that. Like, that is what jobs are for. That's why they have insurance, and they have trauma leave and disability and things like that, because their workers are supposed to be protected. But I didn't know no better. I was so young. I was like, no, I'm not going through that. I'm gonna get some money some other way. Like, I ain't even tripping. I wasn't a working girl at that time. So, now I be clocked in. I'm trying to clock out though. But I be clocked in now. So now I would never, just leave a job like that abruptly. A, I have a lot of responsibilities now that I did not have in the past. And B, I run off of structure now. I don't run off of spontaneity. I can be spontaneous, and I am a wild card at times, but structure to me is what has propelled my life forward. It's the fact that I do get up all the time and go to work. It's the fact that I am coming on here consistently, even if I do miss 9 or 10 days. Coming on here consistently and building my brand, and I'm constantly recording and scripting out videos and thinking of new ideas and just sticking to it. That is really making me who I am and helping me grow into the woman that I need to be. So I need that structure now, and I realize that you can't really get nothing done if you don't work at it. If you don't, you can be, it's a lot of people who start off just so good at something, but they never excel to their full potential because they don't stick with it. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm good, and I was cool or whatever, but it's like, no, I want to be great. I want to be awesome. I want to be the one. So anyway, y'all, yeah, I just never went back to that job. And actually, it's so funny. Maybe like couple months after that, I actually won a lawsuit, y'all. So y'all, when I went to jail when I was 18, I'll link that story right here too. When I went to jail when I was 18, the Oakland Police Department had served a fake search warrant, y'all, and I actually won a lawsuit for that after that. So then I really felt like, oh yeah, I don't need to work, you know, because I was only out of work for a couple months, and I've always braided hair. I used to braid hair after I would get off work, so that kind of helped me over. And then, you know, Triple OG had a little street business and all that, so it wasn't like we wasn't gonna, you know, be able to pay our rent and stuff like that. But then once I got that little money, which was only $10,000, once I got the, oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't 10, it was 30 or 29.5. But anyway, once I got it, I really felt like I didn't have to work. And you know what? The lawyer that got me the money, it was a class action suit. He told me, he was an older white guy, and he said,
"Sweetheart, are you single?"
And I said, "No, I have a boyfriend." And he said,
"Let me tell you something. Don't you tell that man that you got no money, okay? Do not tell him, okay?"
And I was like, okay, I won't tell him. So when I went outside, I didn't listen to him. I told Triple OG that I had some money, but I didn't tell him I had 30. I told him I got 15. Okay, so I hid the fact that I had some money. And no, I didn't put nothing up or whatever. The only thing I did that was smart was paid up. I was like, oh, we ain't got to pay rent for a year, so I paid up the rent or whatever, right? Thank y'all so much for watching. My name is Anaise Tranee. I wish you love, peace, and a lifetime of listening to Anaise. Click here for more juicy story times, and click here if you have not listened to my Messy Toxic Love series, okay? That's the full thing. I love y'all, and I'm out.